Good evening and welcome. This is English Talks.
Today on English Talks, we're stepping into a space where ancient myth meets modern science. Joining us is Dr. Umesh Dutt, a materials scientist with a PhD, a former researcher in Australia, and now a speculative fiction author who dares to ask bigger questions. What if the Astras of our epics weren't weapons of destruction but instruments of consciousness? In his book, The Astra Codex, Keys to the Worlds Beyond, Dr. Dutt weaves together quantum theory and Advaita philosophy, reimagining the Mahabharata through a radical new lens. It is available online, and it invites us to see ancient symbols not as relics of the past, but as blueprints for inner transformation. Today, we'll explore how these ancient symbols meet modern science. Welcome, Dr. Dutt. As a PhD in material science, what sparked your shift from lab research to reimagining ancient Astras?
Thank you, Puja. Thanks for this opportunity. Basically, we are used to reading epics like Mahabharata, Ramayana. Apart from reading them, they were creative in imagining those Astras in the movies and the TV serials. Those creative things stayed in my mind as I graduated to become a researcher, scientist. Then I wanted to see how come such a imaginative thinking, was it possible in science? Does it have a scientific foundation to it? That is how I started this journey of thinking about them and then giving it a measure of science to it.
How did this book come about? How long did it take you to write, and what were the challenges that you faced?
It took more than 18 months, more than around 2 years probably. I was trying to write probably even after the COVID. Coming from a more research background and also the working in corporate background, whatever I used to write was more look like a prose and more look like a report kind of a thing, scientific report kind of a thing. So it took a long time and 6 to 7 months to become like that. So slowly it was a metamorphosization of some sort.
Your latest book, The Astra Codex, flips Astras from epic weapons to tools of consciousness.
Yes.
So tell us, what's that one Astra from the Mahabharata or Ramayana that readers find most surprising in the new light?
Key Astras like Pashupatastra, Brahmastra, those could be the one which will surprise them. And also like there in that book, the humans, we have created our own Astra by the name of Ananta. So that could be the surprising one.
Very interesting, because what the material is given to you, you have the hardware and the software and you can make the Astra. But if the material is not given to you, then how do you make the Astra? So diving into science philosophy fusion, how do quantum theory concepts like entanglement or wave functions mirror the invocation of Astra through mantras and intention in our epic? How do you perceive this happening?
Last decade and all, quantum science, dark energy and antimatter are being researched. Some of the properties we are getting to know. So we have named it dark energy, dark matter, because we are still understanding it. So that is why we have called it dark. So whenever an Astra is invoked, like let's say there is a mantra is a frequency. At that frequency, all those verses are codes. Then a mechanism is triggered wherein a dark energy compresses a Astra or a missile kind of a mold, and it holds that compression wherein all the matter can be formed because of those compression. And then the whole Astra is designed in that way. For the dark energy to make that mold form or set things in a secure place, and then the quantum entanglement science is used to give that blueprint to this dark energy through when it is invoked. That is the science I've imagined.
You connected a metaphysical geometry, like for example, what you said, antimatter plus dark matter, and the invocation of mantras. And if you say it correctly, how this happens. How is this connected with Advaita philosophy and modern physics?
My take on the Advaita is very simple, like Aham Brahmasmi. Basically, quantum science is also say quantum field. They are comparable in terms of understanding. Basically, the logic is same. And in Advaita, we all live we are this. Our Atman is same as Brahman. Same, we are same. So that is where the comparison lies. For that, your intent to use the Astra should be very clear, and then why you are using it. That intent should be felt at the Brahman level. Then only the Astras would act. We have examples in Mahabharata, Ramayana. Astras fail Karna. Astras fail Indrajeet. So those things are because their intent, they're not one with the Brahman.
In a world of AI, quantum computing and energy crisis, which we are having right now, and everybody's part of it, how can these philosophies or these thoughts inspire ethical imagination and innovation right now?
Basically, the Astras are acting based on your pure intent, and if you don't have the right intention and it's not invoking, that means that you're not your intentions are good for the universal consciousness. Means it's good for the whole universe itself. So that is the one which is important. That is where a person ethic will become important. The person with such an ethic will always create a sustainable living. Basically, our rishis also were mostly sustainable. They lived with the environment. They didn't destroy it. They lived with the environment, and they could create a tremendous amount of knowledge with their own research, living with the environment with a non-destructive, almost non-destructive way of living. They have created Advaita. They have created the mathematics. They have created science. They have created astronomy, astrophysics. Those are not. They are pure energy, but they are not for destruction purposes. So the destruction is not the first principle of the Astra. It is to make you become ethical, and so that you can be a good contributor to the society or to in the end to the universal consciousness. That is the main thing.
What should people take away from reading the book?
The universe and even the consciousness is always asks you a question before any action. So the main question it will be for your own consciousness is asking that, are you doing the right thing? Regardless you ignore it or use it. So you have to be true to that consciousness and be always in an ethical in the first place. That's the main thing. And second thing is the creativity. So don't disregard whatever written in the epics, because there is a huge volume of work our ancestors have done. That work doesn't come just like that. To writing a book, I know what's the effort required. That the voluminous work which our ancestors have done, although much of them been destroyed. So there is tremendous knowledge there. So hopefully either from a researcher's perspective, they have to start getting into like a research. First, initially, I'll tell to a researcher. Any researcher does a literature search before getting his problem, to identify the problem. So similarly, they should also do some literature search of our ancient knowledge and the scholars' works, so that they could also refer them before they start their current problems. So that will give them some more grounding on how those scientists or rishis have done it in a sustainable way.
This has been wonderful. I just want to ask some final questions. If you could wield one Astra in today's world, in the world right now, what would it be and why?
Ananta was the newly created human Astra, so which then materializes in a where the person antagonist is sitting. He was so intelligent. He thinks he could escape from everything, but Astras which are connected to the universal energy could identify him, and it goes there, and then he finds it, okay, it's not, I can't do anything, so he surrenders. Probably the one Astra I would use.
And of course, working in alignment with everything is very important.
Yeah, correct. So once you are aligned to the consciousness, you are more close to the original energy. So if you are not aligned, means you are distancing yourself from that energy. Means like that. That's how I am considering it.
Thank you, Dr. Umesh. Thank you very much for this lovely conversation.
Thanks for the time, and thanks for the listeners.
This program was brought to you by Akashvani Bengaluru.